A scared, weak, and pathetic Donald Trump gives up. That should be the headline. Donald Trump not only did not bring peace to Ukraine in 24 hours from taking office like he promised, he actually said it was so easy he would bring Putin and Zelensky in a room together and get it done before he was sworn in. But yesterday, after speaking with Vladimir Putin, Donald Trump essentially said that he's done dealing with the negotiations. He tried to spin it like he made some powerful move, like, now I've allowed Zelensky and Putin to negotiate directly together. When really what happened here is Donald Trump said, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this anymore. It's too much for me to handle it. He's got more important things to do, like building a Trump Tower in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. Donald Trump's got to, really work on more private jet deals for himself, more crypto deals for his family. Got to work on that Pakistan crypto deal that nobody's talking about, but the MeidasTouch network is focused on, and they're sure as hell pissed about it in India. Donald Trump's got to do a lot of other things that he's focused on. One of them, I'm being sarcastic, of course, and none of the things on Donald Trump's list include actually helping out states and cities and towns in the United States who were devastated by these horrific weather events and tornadoes like the ones that killed over 28 people in Kentucky, Indiana, Missouri, Illinois, and other locations throughout the United States. You don't even hear Donald Trump say a word about it, right? He's too busy talking about how he wants the Department of Justice to criminally investigate Beyonce, Bono, Bruce Springsteen, and others, and saying that Taylor Swift is not hot anymore. I guess it's not a big deal to inform the public about what the hell is happening with FEMA that you've gutted, or to even express a scintilla of remorse for the dozens of lives that have been lost just over the past 72 hours, which is getting zero attention, but that we're focused on here in the MeidasTouch network. And of course, we and others have reported on as well that the mayor of St. Louis says that they've gotten zero support from FEMA right now. And by the way, that mirrors our reporting, even from states like Arkansas, where you have Sarah Huckabee Sanders as the governor. No support there, no support in Mississippi. FEMA's rejected supplemental support requests in North Carolina for Hurricane Helene, in Georgia for Hurricane Helene, in North Carolina for Hurricane Helene. Donald Trump is a freaking menace. That is who he is. So any headline that Donald Trump's had some positive phone calls with Putin, not true. Donald Trump has been a loser his whole life. He's not a deal maker. He is a destroyer. He's made things worse in Ukraine. I'm not even going to read for you Donald Trump's BS post where he's like, just completed a 2-hour call with Putin. I bet you if we actually found out how long the call was, I bet you it wasn't longer than 30 minutes. That would actually shock me. Donald Trump's not on the phone for 2 hours with Vladimir Putin. And by the way, the one thing that Donald Trump talked about from the phone call itself is that Vladimir Putin kept on talking about Melania. And he's like, Putin said that Melania is so respected. Melania is so respected. Here's what Donald Trump had to say about the call. Play this clip.
Compassionate First Lady, I would tell you she is very dedicated. In fact, if you look at just what I heard, Putin just said they respect your wife a lot. I said, what about me? No, they like Melania better. That wasn't good. I don't know if that was good. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
Hey, idiot. He was mocking you. Do you realize that on Russian state regime media, they constantly show nudes of Melania to show how classless you are and how classless she is, and their hosts just laugh and mock you and Melania? That is Putin basically saying that you're his puppet and he does or you do whatever he tells you to do. I mean, just look at it over here. Donald Trump's giving a press conference in front of MAGA Republicans about a new piece of legislation that was passed. And he said, this is what he said, I'm too busy to call you up and to give you the credit involved in this legislation because I've got to go back to Putin. What do you mean you have to go back to Putin and people? What the hell does that mean? Your call with Putin ended. You said the United States is out. You're a loser. You can't negotiate anything. You give up. This is what you always have done in your entire life. But here, play this clip.
I'm in trouble because I don't have your names. They didn't give me these names. We have so many. We have half of the Senate here. Now they're all going to hate me because I can't introduce you. We don't have the time for that. I have to get back to Putin and people.
And again, the CNN headline, Russia and Ukraine will immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire, Trump says after 2-hour call with Putin. Okay, you don't know that it's 2 hours. And you just you regurgitate what Donald Trump says. Like literally, if you exercised a modicum of critical thinking, you're like, oh, so now Zelensky is going to negotiate with Putin. What are you talking about? Zelensky has already agreed, you idiots, to an unconditional ceasefire. Vladimir Putin has not. Ukraine says, we're good. We don't want to fight anymore. We want peace. Vladimir Putin keeps sending in ballistic missiles and drones to kill innocent Ukrainians. That's the state of the war. If Ukraine stopped fighting, there would be a complete and total genocide and it would be wiped off the map. If Russians stopped fighting, we'd end the war. That's what's happening. But, Donald Trump can't be bothered, just can't be bothered, right? Too busy doing other things today or yesterday, like using our taxpayer dollars to settle a bullshit wrongful death lawsuit with Ashley Babbitt's family. Yeah. Ashley Babbitt, who broke into the Capitol building and tried to get to this secure area where the vice president was and got shot and killed after she and a group of people were cursing at police officers and trying to break into a secured area, broke through the glass. The Secret Service and police, who were the last line of defense, shot her for resisting and ostensibly her and the crew going to kill lawmakers. That's what it looked like to the police. You sided with Ashley Babbitt and her crew of insurrectionists over the cops, and you're using our taxpayer dollars to pay her family $5 million. I just think about, all of these MAGA supporters too, in light of all of the events recently. Like I think of the Venezuelans for Trump, the Latinos for Trump, the Cubans for Trump. The Supreme Court yesterday ruled in favor of Donald Trump's emergency request to revoke temporary protected status. The Supreme Court did it in the form of a procedural move, which was to stay a district court from California's ruling blocking Donald Trump from revoking TPS. So now TPS can be revoked until the case works its way back up to the Supreme Court. So Trump gets to go after the Venezuelans who he promised he was not going to go after, the Cubans who he promised not to go after, the Latinos for Trump he promised not to go after, send him back to Maduro and Castro, or maybe they even go to concentration camps in El Salvador. And these were people by and large who were supportive of Donald Trump, and they said, no, he's just going to go after the criminals. He's not going to go after us. He thinks you're the criminals because of the color of your skin. Don't you realize why he's giving expedited refugee or asylum status and a path to citizenship to white South Africans, the Afrikaners? As long as you're white and from South Africa, Trump says you're the victim of a genocide which is not taking place there, and you get fast-tracked because of the color of your skin. But if you're a Latino for Trump, a Cuban for Trump, a Venezuelan for Trump, you go back to the totalitarian regime you fled. And by the way, all these Venezuelans for Trump hated Biden. And Biden was the one who was protecting your temporary protected status, and Donald Trump sending you back to Maduro. Okay? So all of these photos of like the mayor of Doral, Christy Fraga, who has the largest Venezuelan community in the country. And she said, I love Trump. I love Trump. All of these city council members, the Venezuelans, you just sold all of your people out. Ridiculous. And then you have Donald Trump's National Economic Council advisor, this idiot, Kevin Hassett, who's been wrong about everything in his life. This guy's literally wrong about anything. If he tells you buy, sell, if he tells you up, down, okay, that's who this guy is. He said right before the dot-com bust, when the dot-com era imploded and crashed, He's like, we're going to the moon. Everybody buy, buy, buy. That's always been this guy's track record. So here he goes out and just the guy looks like a mess now. Like I'm not trying to mock physical appearance. The guy looks like a wreck, like he's been beat up. Look at him here, and he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We've done all of these deals. You're not counting China as a deal. You're not counting. No, China, you didn't do a deal with China. You capitulated. You imposed 145% tariffs on China, and then you unilaterally gave up. That's the theme here, and reduced it to 30% after you claimed that it was a great thing that ships were not coming into the ports, and you claimed that it was going to make us so much money. We were going to be so rich. We weren't going to even need the IRS because we were going to have an external revenue service and we were going to get so rich off of this. But here he goes. We've got deals. We've got an agreement in principle with India. You don't have an agreement in principle, you freaking liar. Go back to the video I did 2 days ago on India. I showed India's foreign minister, like, we don't have a deal. And they're like, we're pissed at Trump right now for disrespect. You don't have a deal with India. You don't have a deal with Japan. Your deal with UK was not a deal. It says on the document, this is not a binding deal. And all you did was give preferential auto treatment to Jaguar, Rolls-Royce, and Land Rover over American car manufacturers who you're screwing. This is what Kevin Hassett said.
You told us even before Liberation Day that you had 15 countries that were on the brink of making a deal.
Yeah.
It's been nearly 2 months and you've had one deal. So what is the holdup?
No, there's been a whole bunch of deals, but
Sorry, with what country?
well, I mean, so you don't think that the deal with China counts as a deal, or the deal with the UK? We've got like an agreement in principle with India, but anyway, everybody, you can talk to Jameson Greer, Scott Bessent, Howard Luck. Everybody has seen awesome deals that are on the table, but last week we were in the Middle East cutting trillions of dollars of deals with our Middle Eastern friends, and now we're closing the trade deals. No, I understand. Now we're closing the trade deals because the president's back in the country.
And then to add insult to even more injury, you have Donald Trump late last night doing a Kennedy Center press event where Donald Trump then goes back to, we've got 25% tariffs on cars, steel, and aluminum, 25% on other things. Maybe we'll be going back up to 50, 75, or 100%, and we need to get more tariffs on pharmaceuticals. Here, play this clip.
25 years, they were taking advantage of us. We never did anything, but now we're doing it to them and fairly, I'll tell you what, modestly. But we'll be taking, and we are taking in right now, 25% on cars, 25% on steel and aluminum, 25% on other things, and that'll be going up to 50, 75, maybe 100 in some cases. We have to get our pharmaceutical industry back. Once we establish that in another couple of weeks, it'll start roaring back. It's already roaring back because they know we're doing it. And it's really been, you've done a great job.
They are menaces. Menaces. So you take a look at this chart right here from Apollo, the private equity company, not exactly a bastion of leftist ideology, right? Apollo is saying the big trend right now is declining foreign participation in U.S. Treasury 30-year auctions. And I would say, in general, foreign participation in U.S. equities, foreign participation in the U.S. economy. People are moving their money to Europe. People are moving their money to China. Trump has irreparably damaged the American brand with his arbitrary, capricious, reckless, and malicious behavior that I've just showcased here. When you just start going and doing a press conference and saying, oh, maybe my tariffs will be 100% or 75 on pharmaceuticals, 50% here, 25% here. That's not funny. This isn't humorous. You are harming American jobs. You're harming the ability of businesses to predict their inventory capacity, their buying behaviors, their profit margins, and you're just signaling to the rest of the world that America is a more unstable place than North Korea. Now, America can still coast a little bit on the fact that it has a reputation of being a place that has had economic success because of the United States federalism, We have states like California, which, by the way, the red states, which are taker states, attack the donor states like California, New York, Massachusetts, and others who are basically subsidizing the red states. But because of the system that we have, you still have some states and governors, mostly all blue states, who represent stability. California's got the 4th largest GDP in the world. But just think about what the MAGAs are even trying to do. The taker states, the states that take from the blue states, are out there in this budget trying to screw over the blue states even more while taking away your Medicaid, while taking away your supplemental nutrition assistance program, literally to steal your money so that the billionaires can get more billions, taking your money to make the rich richer. People who already have 10 mansions and 8 private jets and 5 yachts. They want your SNAP, your supplemental nutrition assistance. They want your rent money. They want your health care, the money that would go to pay for your health care. So they could just get another 3 mansions. What the hell is even happening here, folks? As I've said before, I try to break this down in ways that are not political. I try to break it down in ways that are just human and what's right and what's wrong. And you can decide for yourself. I think that's why this network is growing. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers. And thank you for watching.
New Midas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.